Me and Bruce had been working the night shift at the warehouse for 3 months, mostly to dodge the boss and the daytime hassle. It was always quiet, just the two of us and the pallets of goods stacked up like walls in the dark. But that night, at 1 a.m., I heard it first. Something slimy dragging across the concrete floor, like someone pulling a wet sack behind them. Bruce, standing by the pallet picker with his worn cap, grinned at me. "You and your ghost stories again," he said, shaking his head. But then his smile froze, and his eyes darted to the corner of the hall where the shadows hung thick like smoke. The warehouse was freezing, as usual, with the AC humming low from the wall and the barcode scanner letting out its sharp, occasional beeps. I tried to shake off the feeling, but I swear, something was standing behind the pallets, staring at us. Bruce scanned a box with trembling hands, then leaned in close. "Do you smell that?" he whispered, voice hoarse. It was like wet dirt mixed with something sour, like blood dried into an old rag and starting to mold. I nodded, and a cold shiver ran down my spine when I heard it again. That slimy sound, closer now. I glanced at his back as he bent over a crate. Through his white shirt, stained with sweat, I saw black marks, like burns from fingers pressing hard into his skin, as if someone had grabbed him from behind. He turned around, clueless, and frowned. "What are you staring at?" he said, but I couldn't answer. The marks, they pulsed like something alive under his skin trying to break free. Then the elevator started knocking, hard and relentless, like knuckles pounding from inside the doors. The stench grew thicker, like rotting meat choking the air. Bruce grabbed my arm so tight it hurt. "We're checking the fuse box," he hissed. But when I blinked, he was gone. Only the scanner lay on the floor, beeping alone in the dark, its red light flashing like a pulse. I ran to his pallet picker, tripping over a loose box, and found his phone on the ground. The screen glowed faintly with a half-finished message to his wife. "Honey, something's in here with us. If I don't make it home." The text cut off, and the screen flickered to black. Then his voice came from behind me, thin and raspy. "Don't run." I spun around, but the room was empty, just shadows dancing in the corners of my eyes. My heart pounded in my chest as I bolted toward the office to grab the keys from the wall. The lights flickered like a dying candle, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. A shadow figure sliding across the wall, tall and crooked, its arms hanging too low, fingers scraping the floor. It turned, and where a face should have been was just a black hole, sucking in the light around it, like it was swallowing the room itself. I reached the emergency exit, out of breath, sweat dripping down my forehead. An exit sign blinked green above the door, promising freedom. But when I yanked it open, the pallets were stacked like a wall, impossibly high, their edges smeared with something dark and sticky. The sign behind flickered and shifted to a red glow. A trap? Not a way out. The ceiling creaked loudly above me, like something heavy was moving up there. Bruce's voice, thin and broken like a scratched record, drifted from the vent. "It's got you now." A cold breeze swept over my neck, and I felt it. Fingers brushing my skin, light but ice cold, the same marks as on Bruce. I stumbled back and ran toward the break room, desperation clogging my throat. There he was, sitting motionless at the grimy plastic table, his worn cap tilted to one side. His eyes were black holes like something had carved them out, leaving empty pits. I reached out and touched his shoulder. His arm sank in like wet paper, soft and long, and a black ooze seeped from his shirt, reeking of death and decayed earth. His mouth moved faintly, lips cracked. "It's eating us from the inside." I jerked my hand back, my heart slamming so hard I could barely hear my own thoughts. My hands shook uncontrollably as I fumbled for my phone and dialed 911. My own voice answered, cold and mechanical. "You can't hide." In the background, a low growl rumbled, like something was standing right behind me, breathing down my neck. The phone showed call ended, but the voice kept going, now whispering, "Look up." A drop of black ooze hit the floor from the ceiling with a wet splat, and I looked up. The shadow figure hung in the vent, its arms stretched out like branches, fingers curved like claws ready to grab. Its face, a black hole, twisted toward me, and in that hole, I saw my own face staring back, eyes already gone, mouth open in a silent scream. The knocking came from the vent, fast and furious now, like it was climbing down toward me. I bolted out, legs trembling, and when I glanced at my wrist, my skin burned. A black line pulsed beneath it, thumping in time with the elevator's knocks echoing in my head. 6:18. One body found in the warehouse. Eyes missing. Walls covered in black handprints, like something tried to claw its way out. Stay if you dare face the next night. Subscribe now. Next video. Why do I still feel its fingers on my skin?